going on, guys? Welcome to the August 22nd Raw review, and before I get into that, I'd like to say questions are starting to roll in for my Q&A. Like I said, when I get a good handful is when my first Q&A is going to be coming out. Like you guys have been doing already, you can inbox me, you can leave a message on any one of my videos, you can leave a message on my main page. I have set up the moderator on my main page, so that will be the, I guess, most direct way to leave me the message for the Q&A, but any other ways that you guys feel, I don't know, is easiest to pass me the questions. I will not turn down a question based on you sending it to, quote-unquote, the wrong spot. That's not how we're going to do things. Also, I'm still working on my Spaz Revamps the WWE video. Hopefully that'll be done for next week. And I have an idea for a contest that's going to be coming up in the next 2 weeks or so. So lots of things to look forward to on this channel as we go into next month and look forward to our next set of pay-per-views and whatnot. Okay. August 22nd, Raw review. We start off with Alberto Del Rio in the ring. Before he can say a word, he's cut off by John Cena because, we go a whole 5 seconds or so without John Cena being in the spotlight. That's just not acceptable. We have a big, John Cena style, intense, silent standoff, and, talks some shit to Alberto Del Rio. I'm John Cena, I'm the guy that's going to take your belt, I'm the guy that's going to hurt you, da-da-da-da-da. There's only one man in the entire WWE that can stand toe-to-toe with me, and of course the crowd starts chanting CM Punk, and he says, and you are no CM Punk. CM Punk comes out, and he gets a huge pop, which is not at all surprising, because they were up here in Canada. I don't remember exactly where. I think they said Edmonton. I'm not entirely sure. I would have to double check. But, you get a different set of, speaking as a Canadian wrestling fan, and I've been to a lot of, not a lot of pay-per-views, but a lot of, house shows, Raw, SmackDown type shows, when they've come to Toronto, where I am. And the crowd is just, I'm not going to say better or worse, because it's not a matter of that. It's just, the crowd is just different up here than it is, down there or across the pond or wherever you happen to be. It didn't surprise me at all, the ridiculous pop that CM Punk got. He comes out, he kind of looks at Cena, he's talking to Cena, he says, oh, big surprise, John Cena out here looking for another rematch, da-da-da-da. Mentions that they both have rematch clauses, they sit there and debate who's going to get to cash in their rematch clauses first. Triple H comes out, says 2 things that I loved right off the bat. Number 1, Alberto Del Rio, I'm not out here to defend or protect you. Turns to Punk and Cena and says that rematch clauses are not like Money in the Bank. You can't just cash them in whenever you like. Alberto Del Rio will defend at the Night of Champions against the winner of tonight's main event, which is going to be, I guess, what you would call Punk Cena 3. So, that's decent. That's a great main event, I suppose. Alberto Del Rio, you stay in the ring because you've got a match coming up next. I loved this match. As a opening contest, this was fucking phenomenal. It was Alberto Del Rio versus John Morrison, and it was a quick, fast-paced, back-and-forth match. Cole, going for the cheap pop in Canada, calls Alberto Del Rio the Wayne Gretzky of the WWE, and I roll my eyes until they fall out of the back of my head. Alberto did the same thing that that John Morrison did last week, as somebody we expect to be very technical, very high flyer, very flashy guy, showing a great brawling side in this match. A couple good spots in here. Alberto Del Rio hit a great bridge suplex pin attempt. Also, Morrison got an equally great Hurricane Rana pin attempt. Both of them within a couple of seconds of each other, and they both looked really good. It's got to be said. Cross-arm breaker eventually does get the win for Alberto Del Rio, and he attacks Morrison after the match as we go to commercial break. Eve versus Nikki Bella. I'm not even going to bother. It is what it is. We see Nash enter the arena. Nash gets a lot of free passes to events for a guy that is not in the company. Anyways, Vicky Guerrero comes out, introduces Jack Swagger as her next potential client, and we have Swagger versus Alex Riley rematch from last week. As the match is going on in the ring, nobody's paying attention, which is really, really sad. Ziggler confronts Vicky Guerrero, and somehow, I don't know how, because the camera angle was really bad with this, somehow Vicky gets knocked down while in the middle of their conversation. Swagger gets distracted by this, goes out to confront Ziggler, and Alex Riley takes advantage of that distraction for the win. So, yeah, that's that. Triple H comes out to confront Nash. I didn't text you. I didn't tell you to jump Punk. Basically gets in his face, says, buddy, you can't be here stirring up shit. You don't work here. And asks Nash to leave. Punk comes out, says, oh, Nash, don't leave. Bashes Stephanie some more. He says, we got to figure out who sent the text. I want to get to the bottom of it because, you know, he was the one that was attacked. Whatever. Punk says, I'm done talking. I'm going to come out there and kick your ass. Triple H stops the fight. Gets in Punk's face. Tries to be all tough guy in a suit. A la Vince McMahon. And gets a wicked blindside shot to the head from Nash as we go to commercial break. We come back from that commercial break, and Triple H basically says, you know, you're causing to Nash, you're causing way too much shit. You gotta fuck off, more or less. WWE Tag Team Championship match. Otunga and McGillicutty versus Kofi, Kingston, and Evan Bourne. Very, very average, nothing special match with a ragtag, you know, thrown together opposition for the Tag Team Champions. The commentary in this match was horrible. All three commentators were burying the already dead tag team division in this match. They were talking about the main event most of the time through this whole match, and then when they weren't talking about the main event, Lawler was talking about how the tag team champions aren't exciting guys. It was all the commentary was horrible. As opposed to JR and Jerry the King Lawler bringing the commentary up, I think Michael Cole has infected JR and the King and has brought them down. It's kind of ridiculous. And to top off the ridiculousness, the ragtag opposition, Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, win the Tag Team Championships, which makes sense because they're more exciting than the champs were. But I got nothing. I'm going to get to that more in the score fail and MVP. Backstage, we see John Laurinaitis tell Triple H that Nash was in a car accident. He's been informed by the Canadian authorities. He's gone to such and such hospital. I'll take over the rest of the show. You go tend to your buddy. And it's like, okay, something's going to happen here. Next, we have a match, or we're supposed to have a match, and we hear Santino Marella announced, and I'm thinking, oh, good, another piss break. But I turn around just in time to see Miz and R-Truth owning Santino. They cut a wicked promo about how they have united as people that used to be in the main event scene and have now been pushed to the back of the bus since Triple H and John Laurinaitis take charge, and we're going to make their own opportunities, and we're going to, you know, stop from ourselves from being pushed away from the main event scene. We're going to get back into the main event. And they're both nuts. R-Truth is as nuts as he's ever been, and his craziness has affected the Miz, which is kind of awesome, and I don't care. The promo was ridiculous, but I loved it. I love the Miz. Miz should still be in the main event scene. R-Truth deserves a second whack at being in the main event scene. If the two of them are going to be any kind of team or have any kind of alliance, it's going to be, whether or not it's good, I can't predict, but it will be a fun ride for those of us that are fans of R-Truth and the Miz. I will say that much. Cena and Punk for the #1 contendership for the WWE Championship at Night of Champions. Of course, Alberto Del Rio is at ringside on one side of the commentator booth, and on the other side of the commentator booth, we have another interesting observer in John Laurinaitis. So you're like, somebody's going to get screwed. I haven't written very many notes on this match, because anybody that saw their match at Money in the Bank, anybody that saw their match at SummerSlam a week or so ago, knows these guys just put on a phenomenal match in general. Don't put any bullshit special referees interference or anything like that, and these two will just go in there and have a tremendous match. I did, however, write down specifically, more than their Money in the Bank match, more than the SummerSlam match, Punk got in some deep, stiff-looking shots on John Cena. Some wicked knee shots to the head, some other hard-looking kicks that were quite well, and it was one of those things where I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, so one of those things where I can kind of sit there and go, ooh, fake or not, that had to hurt a little. Always makes me smile. Nash walks down to the rampway to the ring, obviously not injured, obviously not in a car accident, distracts Punk. Punk gets screwed. You know, quick attitude adjustment for John Cena gets him the win, and as soon as he is named the #1 contender, he gets the living shit jumped out of him by Alberto Del Rio. Another thing in this whole friggin' thing that makes me smile a lot. Now, there's not a lot of security or a lot of refs that come down and pull Alberto Del Rio off of Cena. It's just John Laurinaitis, which makes me think if Laurinaitis on his own is able to pull Del Rio off of Cena, granted it took a couple times for him to actually stop, you know, Laurinaitis, Del Rio, Nash, corporate championship, corporate champion, yeah, it's gonna be retarded like that, I'm pretty sure, but that's how we end the show. So going into Night of Champions, we have Mark Henry going for Randy Orton's title, and we have John Cena once again chasing the WWE title. Yay, something needs to happen if they want me to buy this pay-per-view. Anyway, getting a little ahead of myself. Scores fails in MVP. Scores! Cena in his opening promo, even though he was going to fight Punk again tonight, he put over Punk ridiculously with his comments to Alberto Del Rio, along the lines of there's only one guy that can stand toe-to-toe with me, and that's CM Punk, and you're no CM Punk. I like that. That's not something you see a lot of these days. Punk in there talking about the who should get the next title shot. He points out the illogical, or the level of non-logic in Cena getting another title shot. A, because he's had them forever and ever and ever, but B, because Punk is the one that Del Rio beat, and Punk beat Cena twice in a row, so you know, you figure that alone would get him, you know, first ranking in the #1 contender category. But he pointed it out in the promo, and he did it quite well. The first match of the night was Alberto Del Rio versus John Morrison, and John Morrison looked ridiculously strong against the current undisputed WWE champion. I'm really, really hoping this is an indicator of a really big push for John Morrison, but I'm not holding my breath. Nash has no music. And yeah, it's boring, it's a little anticlimactic, but it makes sense, especially with Triple H punctuating tonight. Yeah, you don't work here. You can't be causing shit here because you don't work here. Obviously, if he doesn't work here, he's not going to be ripping out the old NWO music. He's not going to be ripping out the, you know, the old school Diesel music. He's not an employee there. Even JR said it. Yeah, he's a former WWE champion, but he doesn't work here anymore. So, you know, once this all unfolds and he gets his match with Punk, whenever that's going to happen, I'm sure he'll get some music by then, but for now it makes sense that he doesn't have any. Like I say, the Miz and R-Truth alliance, or whatever that's going to be, is going to be ridiculous, and it's going to be amusing and entertaining, if not contributing anything seriously to the storylines. It will be good for comical entertainment value. I look forward to how that goes. Fail. The champion is the third wheel. We saw this going into WrestleMania when the story was John Cena and The Rock, and The Miz, although holding the title, was almost an afterthought. Now, the story is Punk and Cena, which it deserves to be, while taking into consideration all they've done over the past couple of months. But Alberto Del Rio is the recognized champion, and he was the afterthought the entire opening promo. And that's not really good, is it? Just something to think about. The Vicky Guerrero storyline is so predictable, it's ridiculous. She's going to take on Swagger as a second client. That's going to start problems between Ziggler and Swagger. They're going to fight over Vicky. They're going to have a rivalry for a long-ass time, which is only going to lead to Ziggler-Swagger matches all over the place. And personally, Dolph Ziggler needs to find more upscale opponents than Jack Swagger, because as far as I'm concerned, other than some mildly entertaining rudimentary wrestling ability, he doesn't bring much to the table. And the one that they're both beating up on in the process is Alex Riley, who needs a push and is getting buried by a stupid, predictable story. Dislike. Hard. The entire tag team situation as a whole is a fail. I'm not even going to go any farther than that. I will make my MVP of the night Bourne and Kofi Kingston, because they are individually great wrestlers, and it's a push for them, I guess, to have any gold, because any gold that these guys get is a recognition of what they can do. But just barely. Just barely. Anyways, guys, the mod is up for the Q&A. Toss your questions in there as you see fit. I've been Spaz. This has been your August 22nd Raw review. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Let me know what you think. Keep that conversation going, and I will talk to you all later.